Welcome, welcome, welcome to Marital Bliss. I believe that you have had a fruitful day. I believe that you have experienced the goodness of God in whatever that you are doing today. We are here for Marital Bliss, the place where we talk about issues marriage, where we talk of marriage as God intended. What was God's purpose for marriage? That is what we talk about in this broadcast, and I know that God is going to bless us tremendously tonight. And so on behalf of Pastor Morris, I want to welcome you to today's Marital Bliss. But today's Marital Bliss is a bit different. We are not talking about issues marriage, because there is a life that happens before marriage. There is a season that each and every one of us goes through before we get married. And that is the season of singlehood, where you are alone and should be satisfied even before you get married. So today I have a panel of very, very wonderful people, and they're going to tell us their experiences, they're going to tell us their life, and they're going to tell us what is it that they have experienced even in their singlehood. Have they been hurt? Have they enjoyed their singlehood? What is it that they can be able to tell us that we can be able to learn from them? And then, of course, I'll be chipping in one or two things even as we continue with the program. So today, we have very wonderful people, like I have said. We have Joyce Njuguna with us. Yeah, we have Sarah Wamboy with us, and we have Minister Simeon together with us. So are you ready today? I tell you, it's going to be awesome. So kindly do not watch alone. Make sure that you share so that somebody else somewhere can be edified today, and especially somebody that is waiting for love, because that is our topic today. What is it that you do when you are waiting for love? Are you supposed to love yourself, or are you just supposed not to have a life as you wait for love? So we're just going to go straight to what we want to talk about. And remember, our theme today is waiting for love, and the things that we do and the things that we experience even as we wait for love. So I'm going to begin with these wonderful, wonderful people. And I want to send my first question to Sarah. You're a single girl. Yeah, you're single, and by the way you look like you're single and satisfied.
Oh yes, I am. It's a reality.
Yeah,
yes,
but I want to ask you a real question. Yeah, are there moments that you feel lonely? Yeah, because you don't have someone to talk to in the house, you know. What is it that you can tell us on that subject of loneliness? But before we get there, can you tell us a bit about yourself?
Okay, thank you so much, Pastor Pauline. Indeed, my name is Sarah Wamboy. I'm so excited to be here. I work in the corporate world, and yes, I am single and satisfied. And also add another one, I'm sassy, single, and satisfied. And yes, there's that point where you feel lonely. For me, what I can define lonely is it's alone, but not being alone. Because for me, first of all, I'm born again, and I have the enabler in me, and Christ lives in me. So with that, I always believe that I am complete in Christ. But those moments that as a single girl you feel lonely, at home you go, there's no one to cook, as in, I think it's the hardest thing to cook for yourself, but it's also a good thing to cook a good meal for yourself. But yes, you go at home, you're alone, you don't have, cooking for yourself, you feel lonely. But for me, how I deal with that loneliness is I don't allow my mind or myself not to be busy. For me, when we say that an idle mind is the devil's workshop, it is true. Yeah, it is the devil's workshop. So I try to engage myself with so many activities. I'm always a busy girl. The friends around me always know, I'm about to get her, you have to book. But I told myself that I have to put myself in a space where I am busy. I thank God that for my church, I have a department that we are always busy. So I always have in church, we are always busy. I'm in the mission, so we are always going out. I always put myself busy at workplace. If there are opportunities to go out, I'm the first one to volunteer myself. I'm like, we are going. I love planning also, so I also give my services in planning. And also, you know, and in planning, you'll also go, as in, you'll also be part the planning and also go in those activities, as in engage in those activities. So I enjoy those activities also, like doing them. How I also deal with my loneliness is I don't allow myself to be alone most of the time. And if I'm alone, I'm sleeping, as in I have given myself so much during the day, I just want to sleep, as in by the time I'm reaching home, I am tired of talking, I am tired of, if it's my hobbies, I'm tired of doing everything out. I've given all my energies out. So by the time I'm reaching home, I just want to sleep, or I just shower and sleep. So for me, I don't allow myself to put myself in that alone space. So, and if I'm alone, I'm worshiping, sometimes also you can be in the house as a single girl, you're in the house, and you feel like there's that, I don't know, it's a season, or you just feel, niko peke yangu. You know, so for me, what I do, I'll just put music. Either I'll put some love music, okay, I love worship, I'll put some worship, and and when I start worshiping, I realize that my mind will not go to other things. Because you see, when you're idle and you're alone, there's sometimes you'll feel that, you'll start thinking of those guys that, this guy by there, you'll start looking at your phone book, and then you'll start realizing, by there, this guy, how is he? By there, you'll start flirting, you'll just find yourself, you're just flirting. And so I realized, I don't want to be in that space because I don't want to compromise. So what I do, I'll put music, I'll call my friends, I'll do WhatsApp calls, voice calls, we'll just chat. I also engage in social activities. And also my friends, like we plan for outings, we go for out of towns. I've realized Kenya is the most beautiful place. So there are so many beautiful places that you can go, and they're not expensive, by the way. And if you have also, if you want not the expensive ones, I mean, there are these tour companies. I think for me, I have befriended most of them. So they always send me packages, and they can give you a deal. When you see those hotels, you can now go for your own. You don't have to use them. But anyway, yes.
Yeah, my question to you, Wambui, is: do you have a hobby? Do you have something?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes,
you know, you serve God in church. You know, you're out there preaching the gospel. You know, bringing people to Jesus. Other than that, do you have a hobby? You know, something that you love doing?
Yes, I do. And my first hobby is swimming. I love swimming. I even took myself out on Saturday. I went for an out of town. I went just for swimming. As in, my body was like swimming. I love swimming. I also love having fun, like entertaining people at home. So I call up my friends. We do sleepovers. So we just chat and talk and pray together. So I also do that. Another hobby is, I learned to do makeup. So yes, I engage myself to learn new things. So yes, I love getting to know new things. I don't love monotony. I love being random.
That's beautiful.
So I always love to learn to do new things.
So in a nutshell, she's saying that being lonely is a choice that you make.
Yes,
there is so much that you can do with your life that can get you from that lonely place, because I don't think there is an aspect, there is a phase in our lives that is not good.
Yes.
Marriage is good, but it is unlike the character of God to make somebody live a miserable life until they get married. And when they look forward to getting married, because that's the only place that God has designed people to experience happiness and joy. So I don't think that is the desire of God. The desire of God is that for each and every person, whether you are single, whether you are married, that at whatever phase you are in your life, for you to be able to enjoy life. You're supposed to enjoy life. And can I tell you, for those who are watching us, in Christ, there is so much that there is to be enjoyed. In God, there is so much that He has given us so that we can be able to enjoy even before we get married. I know there is something I want to ask from Joyce, but before we talk about what I want us to talk about, she's talked about loneliness, and she said sometimes she calls her friends over, they have a sleepover. So I know her, she's an extrovert, you are an introvert.
I am an introvert, extrovert.
Introvert, extrovert.
Yes.
Yeah, but which one is the biggest?
I think the introvert is the biggest.
The introvert is the biggest?
Yes.
So with that being the big part of you, so what do you do to deal with loneliness?
The best thing about me is that I really enjoy my own company. So sometimes I don't realize I'm alone or I'm lonely because I really enjoy my company. And I'm this person that can get a book and read. I love analyzing. I read stuff like papers, I read analyses. And then I think because of my job and what I do, I'm an analyst. So I analyze so many things. You will find me watching Bloomberg, you'll find me watching BBC, such things. They're so interesting to me, and then I analyze. When it comes to movies, I love movies. It reached a point that I had to stop watching movies because I was becoming an addict. I would watch a series throughout the night without even realizing. So when it becomes extreme, I manage it by stopping. So for now, I don't do movies. But the other extrovert, the extrovert aspect of myself, which is still introverted because I would go out for a holiday, but I go alone. And like people that do groups, people who can't go for a holiday alone or who can't go somewhere alone. I can drive myself to a town, just check into a hotel and just stay there for a week or two. I can go to a prayer center on my own. I don't have to be in a group. But that doesn't mean I don't do group. I also do group things and I enjoy very much. But at that point where I can just be in my space. People have been so frustrated about lockdown. Personally, I have not. I have just missed the church aspect, church aspect. But in terms of even working from home, I'm very comfortable. But that doesn't mean that I don't go through those moments as a single person where you miss company. Because God created us for relationships. So there's that part that relationship plays. And when it happens in my life, I don't allow it to really overwhelm my thoughts. Because that is when desperation kicks in. So in those moments when you feel like loneliness is coming and thoughts are coming and you're wondering, oh, your friends are getting married, you don't have those friends you used to hang out with because they're married. When such thoughts come, I also do, like one boy said, I engage myself. I keep myself busy. I do even cleaning myself. I can start cleaning the house because I'm feeling like I'm frustrated or I'm feeling like I'm lonely. I can start worshiping or listening to music or even call a friend, like, can we go out for coffee? And then we go and hang out for coffee. By the time you come back, you're good to go.
Oh, that's awesome. You know, it's good to be real because when you don't have somebody that you're sharing space with, it is possible for somebody to be lonely. And that is what we have dealt with right now about loneliness. So you're not the only person that has been experiencing loneliness. And that is why we are really looking at all the aspects of the things that people in their singlehood go through. And I'm going to repeat myself. And I'm going to say what I just said, that everything that comes from God is good. And there is no way that God created a phase in our lives that we are supposed to be frustrated. There is no way that God created and can allow his people to go through a phase in their life that now you can say that anything can be done because I am lonely and because I am single. I tell you, if you look at it from God's perspective, you'll understand that there is a reason as to why God allowed us to go through that season of singlehood. Because can I tell you, because I'm married, there's some things that now I cannot be able to enjoy because I am married. I cannot just wake up one day and say, you know what, girlfriends, let's go on a road trip. That's not possible right now. Why? Because I have a husband and I have children. Right now I have responsibilities. So right now, don't wallow in your loneliness. Ask yourself, what is it that I can be able to do with my life right now? What memories can I create for myself right now before I get married, before I get to that place of responsibility? What is it that I can be able to do with my life? And like Wamboy said, it doesn't have to be expensive. You just need to be creative. Call your friends over, do some popcorns and put yourself a clean movie and watch it and laugh and just have fun, because singlehood was supposed to be a moment of not only discovering yourself, but it was a moment of just enjoying your life in that phase of your life. So loneliness should not be something that leads you to a place where now you begin to do things that are not pleasing in the eyes of God and use loneliness as a reason. No, every phase that God has given us provision for us to be able to enjoy that particular phase. And now back to you, Joyce.
Yes.
Again, back to you. We are done talking about loneliness, and there is somebody right now who is watching, and they're wondering, Pastor, I wish I can come to where you are because I have a question. I have been in a relationship, and I almost went to that place. I went almost to the altar. I actually would see myself in the white dress. I could actually even see the pastor, you know, taking us through the vows. You know, I could see all these wonderful, beautiful things happening. I've gotten to a place where it is not like it was faith now. There was a real human being in my life, you know, a real person in my life, and things were just supposed to go all the way into marriage. I know you have a story.
Yeah.
I know you have a story, and I believe that your story is going to benefit somebody that is watching us today. Yes. You know, not only a lady, but it could also benefit a gentleman. Because when you're talking about singlehood, we are not talking about ladies in singlehood. We are talking about gentlemen in singlehood. We are talking about ladies in singlehood. So whatever we are talking about today is across the board. It's for the men, and it's also for the ladies, because both of them go through singlehood before they get married. So we have this beautiful girl. She has a story, and she was about to go to the altar. She was about to say, I do. But I don't want to preempt much. So Joyce, tell us what happened.
Thank you, Pastor Pauline. I didn't tell audience that my name is Joyce Njuguna. I'm in the corporate world, finance field to be specific. And yeah, I have a story. And because we give stories and we give testimonies to encourage people. And right after I graduated from the university, I was dating this guy who was in the medical school, University of Nairobi. So we dated for a few years, but I'd known him from my primary school. We were in the same school. And so we were friends until that point he felt that we can't be friends anymore. I've come to know this person closely, and I feel like this is the person I want to spend the rest of my life with. So we dated for a while, and after I graduated, because he was in medical school, so he was doing more years than me. So I did 4 years, he did 5 years. And I came to visit him in Nairobi, and because that time I was tamaking, I was looking for a job, so I came to visit him in Nairobi, and he was in the hostel. So he had invited his friends to introduce me, and he had cooked. I remember he had cooked rice, he had cooked nyama, and you know that life of a school for a campus to just cook meat. It was something. It was a sacrifice because we are depending on loan, the higher education loans board. So it was such a special treat. And then so we had fun with friends, and then I was just he blindfolded me, and then he led me I want to surprise you with something. And by the time he removed the blindfold, he was on his knee.
Wow.
And he proposed.
You're getting ideas?
Yeah. So it doesn't need to be a big proposal, by the way. That one was really awesome. It was in a hostel. Yeah, and in front of the friends and all that. And it was awesome. I said yes, because I felt, but I hope, even when I was saying yes, I was really hoping we're not getting married immediately. Why? Because I grew up in the village, and everybody dreamt of making it in life. So I had not gotten a job, and I had been advised even by my grandmothers, my parents, that make sure by the time you're getting married, you have your own job, you're stable. My grandmother was a single woman, so she really struggled, and she told us, make sure you have your own money, so that by the time you're getting married, you have your own cash. If anything happens, if someone brings you issue, you can still live your life. So I just I just hoped that we are not getting married immediately. It was just a proposal, then we stay for years, then we get married. So I said yes, and we continued with life. But I came to realize that we were going the same direction, but we were not crossing. We were parallel lines that never meet. Because our ideologies were different, our way of viewing things were different. For example, he believed in a woman staying at home. I believed in getting my own job and working. I believe in being a career woman. He believed in having a woman who stays at home. And I felt like, really, this is a waste of time. Why did I go to school? The other thing that we never agreed on is our spirituality. His spirituality was a bit traditional. That one of a woman should not dress like this, should not put on hair like this, and all that. I had just come to the city. The girls are looking beautiful.
And you're wondering, wow.
I grew up in the village with long dresses, with pleats. And I used to have a headscarf when going to church. Yes.
No. You used to wear a headscarf to church?
Yeah, to church, and long dresses.
Okay.
Now I have come to the city. I've been to campus. I've known how to put on a trouser. I've known how to do eyebrows and to put on earrings. And then someone is telling me you can't do that.
You go back to the headscarf?
Yes,
oh, no.
I go back to the headscarf. So I felt like someone is not wishing me the good life that I want. The life that I dreamt of having nails done, you know, the things that I used to see people do. And especially when I was going to school, because my father used to go with us to pay school fees. So I would see cashiers in the bank, and I would really admire them. So we didn't agree on so many things. But I still put in, I would put up with everything. Because this is a relationship that had been known by our parents. I have been introduced to his parents. I had introduced him to our parents, and they knew we were dating. So breaking this relationship meant that the parents would also be involved. So I had to put in with that. But to cut the long story short, I reached a point that even friends became an issue. My friends became an issue, but I never, sometimes I also think I never took time to understand him or to try to understand where he's coming from, and also to discuss and see the way forward. So I was very defensive myself, like, hey, you can't stop me from doing this. I've looked forward to this all my life, you know. And he would feel like, now this is the reason why I don't want you to be an empowered woman, because you can shout back at me, you can tell me off. But if you are this kind of woman that, like our parents are, you would keep quiet when I'm talking. You understand?
Wow.
Yeah, so anyway, it reached a point that we couldn't agree on many things.
So what you're saying is that your outlook to life and his outlook were totally different.
Exactly.
He just wanted a woman that he's going to marry and keep the woman in the house, provide for the woman, but you wanted to exploit your potential.
Exactly.
You wanted to see what life can be, what you can become in life. What you can be able to become in life, and what you can be able to do, because you are wondering, okay, so then why go to school if you don't want me to get a job? So, and in any case, they were in the same primary school. This was they met very early in life. So you're wondering, you should have told me when we were in primary school that I don't progress to high school, because this is the kind of a person that you wanted me to be. So we are bringing all this so that we can be able to look at the things that are real life things, you know, that single people go through. And the beauty is, we are not crying because of the things that we went through. They are not crying because of the things that they went through. They have overcome the things that they went through, and that is why they're in a position to tell somebody else that if I came out, you can also come out. And it's also acting as a way of helping somebody right now to be able to look at the person that they're relating with and ask yourself a few questions. Is our spirituality, are we at par spiritually? Okay? How we look at life, are we looking at life differently, or are we on parallel lines? It's like we are not connecting anywhere. Is this person that I'm relating with, are they going to make me a better person in life? Is this person going to push me so that I can become the person that God intended for me to become? Because today we are talking about life before marriage. But this life that is happening before marriage leads to marriage. And the person that you relate with before marriage will either help you in marriage or push you or pull you down when you get married, and there is nothing much you can be able to do, because we all know that God hates divorce. And now 3 children later, there might not be much that you want to do. So kindly, I hope you are taking notes, especially if you're not married. She has said that you really have to look at the spirituality of the person that you are getting yourself into a relationship with. You need to ask yourself, is this person pushing me to my purpose, or is this person acting as a hindrance to my purpose? I tell you, there is so much that we still have to talk about today, and like I said, make sure that you share so that somebody somewhere else can get blessed even as we continue with the program. So, Candy, continue.
So it reached a point, Pastor Pauline, that it was as painful as it was. I had to make a decision because, number one, even my family knew I was not happy in a relationship. So, and I remember my mom would tell me, this is a lifetime decision because you've already been engaged. It's a lifetime decision. So if you are not happy now, you'll be worse in marriage because now you are bound.
That's a wise mother.
Yeah, you're bound there. So I had to make that decision, and I quit the relationship. I'm the one who quit the relationship, and it was so hurting. As much as, some people feel when you break the relationship, you're the hero. You don't feel it, but you really feel it. And for 1 year, I remember I even failed exams. I was doing some exams, I failed. For 1 year, it really affected me. And then the worst is that during that 1 year, he got into a relationship, and he announced a wedding. So I felt like, hey, he's really moved on very fast.
And
I thought we are crying together.
You're crying, the man has moved on.
Yeah, and I think because of pride, both of us were so proud. I told you we were in the same primary school. He used to be number 1, I used to be number 2. So we used to have that competition. I think we brought
the competition to the relationship.
Yeah. So nobody was so humble to come and tell the other, I think we can still work out this thing. Or when we broke up, that was it. So he got married, and I remember I watched his wedding on Samantha Bridal.
No, that's not easy.
It was very painful, but and I remember he SMS'd me to watch. I think he just wanted me to feel it, but yeah, I told him, congratulations, I'm happy for you, yeah, but
actually, you're just saying you're happy, but inside there was no happiness at all.
Yeah, it was not, the happiness was not there. It was just to show him that I'm also okay. I'm fine. I'm moving on. I think I also lied to him, I got somebody or something, I can't remember. But I watched his wedding, and yeah, when I remember the things we used to go through, they were worse than what I missed out. And I had to reach at that point and say, Joyce, you know what? Assuming you got into this relationship, would you be happy? And the answer I gave myself was no. So move on. So I had to move on. And by moving on, I didn't get into another relationship. For me, I had to take time. Because if you get into a relationship when you're broken, you will go to break someone's heart.
And maybe that person is not broken. They are complete. They are fine.
And they are
so
good.
You're actually carrying your luggage, your pain, your frustration to the wrong person, because that man is not the one who is supposed to heal you, because he's not the cause of the pain. So because the person who is the cause of the pain is not there, the right person to go to, sorry for calling him a person, is God. Yeah, because the person who caused the pain is not there to help you go through the healing process. And now because the person that hurt you is not there, the best source of help is God himself. Because people who are broken and they do not go to God for healing, they get into a rebound. They get into another relationship looking for a shoulder to cry on, looking for somebody to help them heal. But another person may not be the best source of help. It's only God that can be able to heal a broken heart. I tell you, we are not done. Joyce is going to continue even after the break. This is Marital Bliss. Whatever you do not touch that remote, but share so that somebody else can get blessed together with you. See you in a minute. welcome back. Welcome back. Oh, I tell you today, the seat is hot, I tell you. And we are about to continue with what we began. And this wonderful lady had just begun telling us, sharing her story with us on how she got into this relationship. And this was a relationship from childhood. I mean, it's not a guy that she met at work. This was a person that they met from the village. I mean, this person was known to the family. And I mean, everybody was there celebrating, you know, waiting for these wonderful people, these bright people, because the guy used to be number one and the girl would become number two. And it went all the way. So, but it did not work. So, but before we get back to Joyce, we have a gentleman on set, and his name is Minister Simeon. And after hearing the story, from Joyce, what would you say, would have been the issue with the man? What do you think would have been with the issue of the man? Why would a man tell a woman, don't work, you know, and don't put on makeup, don't work on your nails, you know, put a headscarf that is covering your ears, you know, and wear mafiriri, you know, the mafiriri, those many pleats, you know, that kind of an outfit. I think as a man, from a man's perspective, what do you think would have been the reason as to why this man was behaving thus?
Thank you, Pastor Pauline. From what I get from her story, I see a man that is insecure.
A man that is insecure.
Yeah, he's insecure and afraid to have this influential lady or woman in his life. Imagining of, you know, the influence that she, you know, she could command outside there. And I see him being insecure in a way that he couldn't stand that.
He couldn't stand.
He couldn't stand having this influential, you know, woman in his life to handle.
Yeah.
To handle the success of the wife, to handle the influence of the wife, you know, because even before she married, before she, you know, getting married to him, already there is potential in her. There is
so
potential,
she was always number two.
there is potential in her, and there is purpose. There is purpose also, which marriage is not supposed to be a hindrance to the maximization of that potential. It's not supposed to be a hindrance to the achievement of what God meant for her to be. Rather, it's supposed to be an enhancement. What role am I coming to play in her life to make sure that who God intended for her to be actually becomes that? So, again, I see an aspect of self-centeredness, selfishness. He ought to have asked himself, what am I, you know, offering? How am I going to make her better? How am I going to, you know, add value to her life? The aspirations, you know, of her life, the potential and the gifts and the endowment. Because before she comes in my life, first, there is what God put in her. So I will not go, you know, to like Bible says, we are lights, and you cannot light a candle
and put it under a bushel
and hide it under a bushel. That light is supposed to shine for someone else, that they may not grow up in darkness, but they may benefit from the same.
Yeah.
So I see an insecure man. I see one that is scared of the, you know, the success of the wife, the kind of influence that she could, you know, come to, the height that she may come to attain
in life.
So to him, I think he was uncomfortable with that.
Amen.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That is so profound. That is very profound. And marriage is right, and marriage is God's idea. And there is nothing as terrible as marrying the wrong person. Not that the person is wrong in themselves, but as far as your life is concerned, the person could be wrong, because there is no way that you're connected as far as purpose is concerned, as far as your future is concerned, you find that there's nothing wrong with that person, but that person could just be right for someone else, but not right for you. So we are not saying that there are terrible people out there, no. But you might just find that this person may just be right for someone else, but they are not right for you because of how you have defined yourself, because of the vision that you have for your life, because of the things that you desire, to experience in life. You might find that this person, I don't think so. And that does not make the person evil. It just makes that person wrong for you. You understand? The person is wrong for you. So thank you so much, Minister Simeon. Now we go back to your awesome story. And I believe that story is really helping somebody. Somebody who is in a valley of decision, wondering, do I leave this relationship, or do I stay in this relationship because my parents know about it, everybody, my family, my siblings, my friends, even the enemies actually know about this relationship. You're wondering, God, now what will I go through? I mean, how will people see me? How will I be able to get out of the door, of this village where everybody was expecting me to get married to this person? That person that is in that place of wondering, do I not? I mean, what will people say? But one thing I thank God about Joyce, that she overlooked what people would say, because having been married for 26 years, I tell you, marriage is made up of two people. Two people. So the decision that you make will only affect you and the person that you're getting married to, or the person that you are marrying. So when it comes to a place where you're making a decision for your future, you love your parents, amen, you love your cousins, you love your friends, but know at the end of the day, when it comes to you getting married to that person, if they're good experiences, it's the two of you that will go through the experiences. If the experiences are painful, it is the two of you that will go through that experience. So, back to you, Joyce.
Yes.
Tell us, now you're here, you have actually watched the man, he's getting married, now it's for real, he's gone. He's gone completely, and now here you are crying, and you're thinking, okay, the person who has made me cry is actually getting married. So how did you feel, and how did you get out?
Thank you, Pastor Pauline. You've said something very profound, and I would like to reiterate it because it is very important. Relationships sometimes don't break because the other person is bad. Sometimes it's differences of values, difference in ideologies, different outlook of life. For our case, my ex was not a bad person. He was a born-again, a God-fearing man, but we had different ambitions. We had different outlook into life. And so it doesn't have sometimes to break because the other person is beating you or the other person is bad. Sometimes you walk out because your paths are not crossing. Your purpose are not aligning. Because if your purpose are not in alignment, you might not have a good marriage in future. So back to my story, first thing I did is that I shared with my parents, especially my mom. My mom is my good friend, my best friend, together with my sister. So I shared with them and I told them, because they knew about the relationship, so I told them from now on, this relationship is over. Because my ex-sister used to come and spend at home for a week or so. So I had to notify them so that they are aware. And I remember even the father and the parents tried to bring us back, but I had already moved on myself. So what I did, I talked to my mom a lot to just get some emotional support. I talked to my sister a lot, and even the friends that knew about this relationship. I talked to them, of course, friends that help, not the friends who put salt into the wound.
Yeah, make it worse.
And make it worse. But those friends who will help you get out of it. And then I concentrated on my studies. Remember, I had wasted, for those who've done CPAs, I had wasted 6 months because exams are done after 6 months. Not to consider the money you pay and all that. So I had to catch up. I had to really, after talking to people and getting to convince myself that this was not meant to be, and I have a life to live, so I had to get back to my books and just do the exams that I was supposed to do. And the other thing that was very important is that we didn't become enemies. We still continued to be friends, but now on another level. So when you break a relationship, it doesn't have to end in enmity. You can actually be friends, because that's who we were before we came to do the relationship. So we continue to be friends, and even to date, we still say hi when we meet. We can still talk. So it ended like that, and I moved on with life. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, there is somebody I would want to, I don't know which is your camera, it should be that one. What would you tell a single lady, you know, that maybe has gone through the same thing that you have gone through right now? And she's wondering, God, why did you allow this to go? I mean, why did you allow this to happen to me? What advice would you give to that single lady that is watching us today? What would you tell her tonight that will be able to help her, so that even maybe she could be in the place of pain right now, you know, maybe the breakup has just happened, and she's wondering, God, how do I pick up my pieces from this place, you know? There is another person that is regretting, you know, like, I have wasted so many years in this relationship, God, or should I just go ahead and marry this guy? Because why should I waste 5 years of my time in a relationship and then just let this relationship to just go, and now have to start afresh, start from scratch? What would you tell a single lady, not only a single lady, but a single gentleman, a man that is waiting to get married? Because it's not only the ladies that have their hearts broken, but you might find that it's also a gentleman who has gone through the same thing that you went through. He has wanted to marry this girl, but he's just discovered our paths are not crossing. Our spirituality, no. So what would you tell that person?
What I would tell someone who is going through a breakup right now is that, number one, you have to accept that that relationship has come to an end.
That's true.
And you have to appreciate the fact that you did your best, because I believe when we get into a relationship, we are brought into a relationship because of love. So if you really loved someone, I'm very sure you have given them your best. So notice that you do not blame yourself for the failure of the relationship. Having given your best, just accept that it has ended. Appreciate yourself for what you have done right. Forgive yourself for the mistakes you did, because sometimes they break because of our mistakes. So appreciate and forgive yourself for the mistakes that you did, and then you have to move on. Cry if you must, because for women like us, we cry. We cry as a way to express our pain. So cry if you must, but don't be stuck there. You have to move on. Move on by doing what will make you move on. If it's getting into a new hobby, if it's getting friends who will help you move on, if it is getting somebody who will hold on your hands. There are some people who have to go even to a counselor when a relationship breaks because of maybe the emotions that you had invested in the relationship. So whatever you must do, find it and do it. But don't get stuck into the past. You have to move on. For myself, I cried a lot and I talked about it a lot. And I knew the things that I did myself, so I had to forgive myself and stop blaming myself for the things that went wrong. And I appreciated myself for the things that I did right. And so you have to move on. Don't be stuck. That's what I can tell you. Share, because sharing is like offloading part of the burden. And then move on, and don't get in quickly into a relationship, because you're still broken and you will take that pain to someone else's life. So take time to heal, and then you can get into a relationship. And you realize that later on, you realize that there was a reason why that one didn't work. Because we are always created for someone. So you realize that that didn't work because you have someone else who was created for your purpose.
Awesome viewers. I know that you are enjoying today's program. Today we are talking about that life that's supposed to be beautiful, that life that is supposed to be enjoyed before somebody says, I do. And I have very wonderful people today, and her case is, she has told us that she failed an exam. You know, she failed an exam, you know, that she cried a lot, and we're about to go to Minister Simeon. But before we go to Minister Simeon, For Sarah, it was worse. It was worse because this one ended at failing exams. But Sarah, can you tell us in like 3 minutes your story? Because I believe you've experienced something like that, but I think yours, it's the hand of God.
Yes, thank you. For me, yes, I was in a relationship also like for 7 years. And then it got time. We had to break up. For me, it was because of he cheated on me. And I was young. He cheated. So when I realized, I found them like red-handed. So when I realized it, oh my God, I felt bad. That time, in fact, I did something that I always say I regretted, but I took a whole bottle of alcohol. Yani, why, I don't know, it was a spirit. I took it, I got drunk, and then after that, I wanted to take away my life. Because at that point, I felt like I'm not worthy of anything. I felt it was like during Christmas, the time I realized. So I was like, on 24th, you even bought me a voucher of Christmas, and you told me, Merry Christmas. And on 31st, you're here cheating on me. So I really felt so bad. I was so hurt. I cried. I drank. I almost committed suicide. In fact, I had even bought those drugs to take away my life because I felt this is it. This is the end. So, but by the grace of God, I remember that in January, we had a service at JCC Parklands. And I went, and Bishop that day said that today we'll just have a worship service. And I just went to the altar and I just held him. And I told God, Father, this is the last man a man will ever hurt me like this. So I cried myself out. I cried. And then after that, at least I felt relieved. But after that, I was still offended by him. So it took me another 7 months, because it was in January, like in October. It's when I had to let go because I hadn't let go. I was so hurt. I will see him. I will listen. There's a song that used to say, I don't ever want to see you again. So I will take the phone, call him, and then put the speaker there so that he hears that I don't want to see him again. So it was so bad. I think I'm down to extreme. If I'm in it, I'm in it. If I'm out, I'm out. So when I do things, I'll do the extreme way. So it was so bad. So again also, that time we had Daughters of Zion, and I was like, Pastor Kathy said that we need to pray. And the people who have been hurt, they write a note of thank you for leaving me. So for me, I was like, okay, how do I even tell this man thank you? And God is not a respecter of persons. That day, and I had not seen him that particular time. Imagine he passed Gara. He passed, and then he was looking at me. So when he passed, I saw him. I was boiling. And then Pastor had told us, you forgive the people who have hurt you. So for me, it was like a step, as in he stood, he said, hi, Wamboi. I was like, hi. And then I remembered, some of you will even meet them outside. I was like, that's Aman Kumbe, it's me. So anyway, we had a cup of coffee. I told him, you hurt me, because we hadn't met. So he said, yes, even me, I realized, yes, I hurt you. And yes, we could move on. So I told him, I've forgiven you. And from now, we can talk. So for me, I always say it was the hand of God, because at that time, I felt so bad. But I thank God that now I can talk about it. We are also friends. We talk, we laugh, we enjoy each other. But I moved on. I forgave him for sure. I forgave him, and I also pray for him. And yes, I know God can heal. And if you're hurting, I know sometimes that hurting always makes you feel that you're not worth it. I don't know. The devil also always puts you yourself in a position that you are not valuable, you are not accepted, that you're loved, that it always makes you feel that you are the one who is wrong, even if you
like
know
you're
that
the one
you're the one
who made that
who
other
made
person
that, yes,
do
who made
whatever
that
they
other
did.
person, yes. But I've come to realize with time and by the grace of God that you are valuable, you are worthy, you need to forgive yourself, you need to love yourself, you need to accept yourself, and above all, you need to admire yourself, because you are the most valuable person on this earth, and God has a very good plan and purpose for your life. And for that, just say, it's the past, and the future is bright.
Amen.
Awesome.
Yes.
Yeah, forgiveness is very key when it comes to a relationship, and when it comes to a place where now you feel that you need to move on.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need to move on. Because when you carry somebody,
Yeah.
it becomes very heavy. I mean, your fellowship with God is affected. Your fellowship with the fellow man is affected. And if you do not allow yourself to heal, from the inside, and healing cannot happen before forgiveness. You forgive that person, and you don't forgive that other person for them, because there are those who don't care whether you forgive them or not. So you forgive them because of yourself. You forgive them because of yourself. Because if you keep on having that person on your inside, inside I mean in your head, you're just thinking about him. Every time you see him, you feel hurt about him, about him and all that. It will even affect your future relationships, because you will see other men through that man. So even when the right one comes, you will think that this person is exactly like the other person who hurt you. So it is important for there to be forgiveness, so that you can be able to move on, because when you forgive, you release. You forgive, you release, so that you can keep yourself ready and make yourself mentally, emotionally available to accommodate another person into your life. Because it's not possible for you to accommodate the person who hurt you, and then have somebody else thinking that this person is coming to heal the pain that was caused by the other person. You have to allow the pain to heal, and you have to release that other person, so that you can create capacity, to be able to accommodate this other person that God is bringing into your life. So forgiveness is key. Forgiveness is key to every relationship, and especially when somebody wants to move on. So now we come to the gentleman, and there's so many things that happen, and the reason as to why I brought you to the panel is because you've waited, before saying I do. You've waited before saying I do. So what would you tell the young men and the young ladies, and not so young, those that are saying, what, by now I should have been married by yesterday, By yesterday I should have been married. But as it were right now, they're still not married. So what would you tell somebody? Okay? What is it that someone should do? And right now, I think I want you to address the men. Address the men and tell them what is it that they are supposed to do before they say I do. I mean, what is it that you did as a person, or to preserve yourself, to keep yourself, even as you are waiting to get married?
Yes. Thanks a lot, Pastor Pauline, for this opportunity, and just to have this discussed, because it's one area that really needs to be discussed. Personally, I appreciate God that He gave me the ability and the grace to go through the waiting season. And it's not easy, though it is worthwhile. Thinking of how crucial it is, thinking of how important it is that this person, I'm not living with them for a day, for a month, for a year. It is for an entire lifetime. So it is important for me personally to believe God that this person that, I will live with, they better be the right person. Because it's so tied to purpose. It is so tied to every other thing. And this person, I'm going to live with them for my entire life. So if I may refer...
No, my question is,
yes.
No, you are waiting. For those many years, you are waiting. When you are waiting, Carol had not come.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
Carol had not come. Carol had not manifested.
Yes.
So my question is, what is it that you did? And of course, in the process, there were temptations.
Yes.
Yeah? They were feeling, the times that you feel like you want to give up, just
Yes.
do it however. Because you're looking at the clock, you're thinking, God, life has to move on.
Yes.
So what is it that you did during those moments, of waiting? During those moments of waiting.
Yes.
What is it that you did during those moments of waiting?
Yes.
Yeah.
Personally, if I may refer to my very first relationship, we began off very well, but along the way, it just faded like it started. With, no reason, no solid, reason. She just moved on, and the next thing I heard is that she's married. Same to the second relationship. So I began asking myself, is it my problem? Is it, I didn't quite understand what is happening. Little did I know that, me being a minister, from, early in life, God started, taking me through a particular path. For me, I really appreciate God for JCC Thika Road, because it's from here that God has really ordered my life. And I've been able to focus, responding to your question, Mom. I stopped looking for, even as the Bible says, he who finds, I quit trying to find. I quit trying to look for. And I focused on ministry. I focused on serving. And even by the time Caro comes, actually I'm in a crusade, ministering. That's why, that's how I see her in in the crowd. Little did I know that she had come like now to this church, like for one, for the very like once. So I was in my purpose, in my path, and that's how we met. It was along my assignment. So I wasn't like, looking for, because having now the two instances, they brought me to a place of, because, umejaribu once, umejaribu twice, and it's like, it's not working. You are like, the trend might continue. So I had to like sit back and not focus now on finding. I focused on the main thing of my life purpose. Then there she comes along. So she
found you in purpose.
Yes, she found me along my path of purpose. Yeah, that's where we met, and that's how now we graduate even to the place that we are now. And now, so if I may, just talk to someone, my, fellow brother, my fellow, what I would say is that the time for singlehood is the time to invest in myself, is to find my purpose, is to find what really does marriage mean. And it's supposed to come as an enhancement, or rather a blessing, to find me doing already, doing something already, that which I've been called to do. So by the time she comes, I'm not like, looking for. She finds me in my line of purpose. Amen.
Oh, yes. That's profound. So he's saying that that's so profound that the lady came and found him on his path, in his purpose.
Yes.
Because, by the way, you're already in our purpose. Yeah, a purpose is not a place we get to. No, our purpose is something you attain on a daily basis. So long as you're walking on the path that God has ordained for you to walk on. And like what Minister Simeon has said, is that when his wife now came, actually he saw her at a crusade, fulfilling his purpose. So I think in a nutshell, he's saying to the gentleman, build yourself, find yourself, be that person, be that man, that you would want that lady to live life with. And my question to the young men that are watching us out there, because it's a man who has just been speaking, the way you know you, do you think you're a very good person to live with? Do you think that you're the kind of a person that a girl is looking forward to live life with? You have to get to a place where you ask yourself that crucial question. Am I that kind? If the way I know me, am I good company? Am I a good mentor? Can I mentor children as a man? As I do whatever I do, Am I allowing myself to grow? Because singlehood leads to marriage. And in marriage, there are responsibilities. And part of that responsibility is that you as a young man right now, one day you'll become somebody's father. So right now, begin to ask yourself, will I be a good father? Get some books, read books, find out what is it according to God that God requires for us to be able to enjoy marriage and to be that place, that man, because in marriage you're not only, God does not only give you the place of headship, he also gives you the position of leadership. You ask yourself, can I be somebody's head? Yeah, do I qualify to be somebody's head? Can I really guide another human being in this place that is called purpose? Can I be able to lead another human being in the ways of God? So let us not just live our lives anyhowly, thinking that our lives will suddenly change the day that we get married. Every day of our life is a moment that God has given us to learn. So let us learn even as we wait for that thing that people wait, that is called marriage. Marriage is good. As I conclude, marriage is good, but life is still supposed to be good before marriage. We should not live horrible lives, desperate lives, sorrowful lives, waiting for this wonderful day that is called marriage. No, you're supposed to have life even before marriage. You're supposed to enjoy life before marriage. And like I say, I can say what I said when I began. There is no phase of our lives that God has designed for us to experience sorrow and experience pain. We are supposed to enjoy life in every phase of our lives. So my challenge is, if you're a single person, enjoy life as you're waiting for that person that God has ordained for you to spend the rest of your life with. Enjoy life. Explore. Go to places. You know, right now, you're not accountable to anyone. Of course, to your parents, if you're living under their roof. But enjoy life even before you get married. So my name is Pastor Pauline Gacheru, and we have enjoyed ourselves this evening. We enjoyed ourselves. And you know what? We are not done yet. There is still so much that we need to look into. So kindly join us next week as we continue to look at waiting for love. What do you do when you are waiting for love? So see you next week, same time, same channel, JCC Thika Road. I know you'll be waiting because I know you have been blessed today. So until next Thursday, God bless you. And there's a paybill number at the bottom of your screen. If you feel so inclined, you can go ahead and give your offering in Jesus' name. So see you next time. From me, this is Marital Bliss.